The interesting thing is today, a couple of my DevOps guys were going to present this entire session, but unfortunately, they both fell ill, and yeah, you are stuck with me. So I'll try my best to kind of share all their insights, whatever they kind of passed on to me. I have also worked with this team very closely during this entire couple of weeks when this project that we had picked up. But it would have been lovely if they were able to kind of share their own thoughts. Nevertheless, let's start. Um, right. So let me share the demo video first. So while I share the demo video, let me give you a brief insight about what the real problem was. So the problem that just a second, sorry. Right. So, as you guys might be aware, so FlightBase is an enterprise flight software for drone autonomy, right? And the entire software is purely based on cloud, so it's on AWS. But a lot of different enterprise users also expect us to kind of build an fully on-prem sort of a solution for a data, for primarily for a data privacy reason. So we have this on-prem solution since last 1 year or so, but a lot of times that the problem that you used to face was the on-prem solution got deployed, it was very difficult to kind of make the configuration changes. So a lot of times these DevOps guys would have to get on those calls via like jump servers and whatnot and run some shell commands to kind of reconfigure or make those modifications. So the idea behind this entire web application, which resides in the on-prem dashboard itself, was to make all of these configurations a lot more easier so that the end user or our partners are kind of able to just use this web application to configure our entire on-prem software. So I'll play part of this entire video and then I'll jump into the learnings that we had, what are the problems that we were facing. Okay, I think you guys are not. Can you? Were you able to now listen to the audio?
No.
No.
When you're sharing your screen, you have to share system audio also, I guess.
Yeah, I did all of that. I do this all the time. I usually never share, never face any problem. Let's try it one more time. Otherwise, I'll do the voiceover. Can you guys hear the audio?
No, still not.
All right. So I'll do the voice. Right. Right. So here's this on-prem configurator. So the idea behind this entire software was that once the user kind of installs this entire on-prem kind of a solution, then they go through this entire onboarding guide, wherein so there's this entire first install step, wherein you go through the entire generation of root CA certificates, and then once the CA certificates get uh, generated, you can deploy it so that the HTTPS kind of works in their local environment. So again, the essential components primarily meaning so I'll skip. So it's on statistics, system health, configuration. So when it comes to configuration, so say for example, so in our case, maps is something which is very important because the drones need to be shown on different sorts of maps. In case of on-prem, a lot of times our end users have their own map tiles that they want to show. And typically that would also mean that developers, and these map tiles would be like tens of GBs. And then developers would go on a call and, as I said, go into jump servers and do SSH file transfers and so on and so forth in terminals, which used to take a lot of time. So we kind of created this entire utility wherein you can upload your map tiles and then just see what your map overlays are. So I'll skip the video a bit and then shall directly jump into kind of the problems that typically DevOps guys face. The solutions that we kind of came up with. We'll also kind of share few hacks, something that kind of worked out for us, something that we kind of made mistakes in the early days while just tinkering with the AI. So I'll share a couple of those things on that as well. And then we'll move on to Q&A. So yeah, so like one of the major problems that typically in any DevOps team would be that these guys have like no clue about React, Angular, Node.js, Go, front end or back end skills, and without that, creating all of this entire web application would have been a big deal or potentially a nightmare. So typically, like 6 months ago, even if they had to create any sort of similar interfaces, they were kind of dependent on the development team to create those interfaces for them. And they would do those minor tweaking, minor configurations here or there, but not to the extent that they were able to kind of generate everything from scratch. So that's was a kind of a major unlock and for them from their side. There was one more interesting thing that even if till now they were 6 months ago in pre-AI era, even they were generating some sort of a web app or some sort of a configurable dashboard, but they never reached the stage wherein they would even think about UI aspects of it. It would be very clunky. It would be like boxes here or there, but the entire like design system, so UI design system and those design tokens and so on and so forth was never something which was of priority. But since they use Lovable and we internally have a process of, we have our own standard design tokens that we can just directly share with Lovable. And then Lovable is able to kind of leverage that to an extent. So that was something that was a major unlock for them. One more thing was that we already had a backend written in Go, which the on-prem team themselves they had created a few months ago. But then the integration with the front end, so they kind of created some sort of a like a layout in Lovable, but it was not integrated with that backend. So then they kind of exported the entire code from Lovable. They kind of get themselves onboarded into Windsurf. And in Windsurf, what they did was kind of provided the interface of the entire backend. So like Swagger, JSON files, and the interfaces spec documents. So they provided all of that, and then when the Windsurf was kind of able to do the mixing and matching of whatever that was generated in UI, and then it was able to work with the Go backend. So a couple of mistakes that I would like to talk about that we in the DevOps team kind of initially made. So this is like in the very initial days. So we very naively thought that AI is like a magic box. So just provide some sort of a vague sort of a prompt like create a certificate upload module for our dashboard. It should allow the user to select a file, validate, upload it, blah blah blah. But it failed. It failed miserably because the context that it needs to kind of generate a relevant code or a code something which makes sense, which kind of works, it was something which was missing. So then with time we learned like what is the correct way to kind of generate the prompt. Back then we didn't have that Anthropic's prompt generator. So if we had that, maybe this entire experiment could have been a lot more like faster. But yeah, so once we realize that we need to have a better prompt structure wherein we just talk about in the step one, we just talk about layout, what the basic UI is, and then we go deep, we talk about validation rules, then we talk about the backend integration layer. This is something which has kind of works better than just giving a vague ass prompt. So that was one of the major mistakes that we committed in the early days of this project. The other one was typically, again, it was on the workflows itself, but like assuming, and that is something that developers or people who do not have a lot of expertise when it comes to system design or design thinking. So they typically make these mistakes. So these guys also did that, but that's all right because they're now able to learn from those mistakes. So what they kind of did was that they thought that the UI and the UX of this firmware upload would be very easy. Like user will upload a zip file of the firmware and then voila, everything will work. But then they realized that no, this needs to be broken down a lot further. And what like once they broke down these into individual steps, what they also were able to leverage was add testing. Once each and every step got implemented, they also inserted unit test cases once the step got over. And hence, once all these 5 steps got completed, they also have a testing module which is available in parallel, so that in future, if they make any of those modifications in the code, they can just run those test cases and see how it's working or not. At very high level, so like one of the key insights that we found, again, something which is very powerful, and we have been kind of talking about it, but good to see that even now the DevOps team has broken those traditional silos wherein they just primarily handle the ops part, as in the CI/CD, and then just the Kubernetes deployment and ensuring everything stays up. Of course, they are doing that, but they are also slowly and steadily kind of encroaching into the development workflows as well. So sometimes even when it comes to security, so they make those modifications in the actual product if they see certain security flaws. So now they are not just reporting security issues, they are also able to fix those security issues within the product. And of course, it goes through code reviews by senior developers, but nevertheless, that's not something which used to happen earlier, but now it's something which has started to churn. Apart from that, like the third aspect, like the abstraction layers, that's something which we have observed even in the development cycle as well. So the more cleaner your interfaces are, and as I said, Swagger JSON files, and even in front end, the stores that you build, all of those interfaces, as soon as you provide those interfaces in a detailed manner as a context to the AI is able to leverage that in a much better way to generate the UI as well as integrate it in kind of a one-shot or a two-shot way, versus you keep iterating and saying, no, in this API, a certain an additional field was also supposed to be sent, but you missed that, etc., etc. All of that is not needed at all if you provide those interfaces quite early into your workflow. Next step, something which I would say we are kind of lagging behind, is more in terms of adding AI into our observability dashboards and our incident response systems. So that is something that we are kind of leveraging. So we use Dynatrace, and from Dynatrace, fetching all those logs and doing some sort of AI analytics on top of that. That's something which is on our mind, but we have not done enough. So that's something which we want to do in next few weeks. Internal knowledge base again. So like as a director of engineering, I see that so many different team members are doing. I mean, there are lots of things that they can share with each other, and having a knowledge base would help a lot. Again, this is something that's kind of missing. I mean, it's there in bits and pieces, but we need to do a lot more. And hopefully that's also a knowledge base that we can hopefully share with the community as well. Right. That's about it. I'll stop sharing my screen. Feel free guys to like ask your questions over the chat window. I'll try my best to answer as many questions as possible. I'm just searching. So these note takers, oh man. So I see note takers a lot. Any questions? So if the prompt is very specific, so Manisha Podar has mentioned that if the prompt is very specific, do we have the context for prompt? Manisha, if you would like to like give me a bit more context about what the question is about.
Me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Manisha.
Okay. My question was, see, when you were talking about prompt generator in Anthropic, very simple prompt. It is very like I want to create an itinerary and all those are very generic ones. But when we are talking about domain specific, there are certain things very specific to those domain. So how easy right now what we are using AI is we have to give a lot of context, we have to give a lot of context to it, and then probably the GPT gets trained. But in that, how do you do when you want to generate the prompt like this?
So typically, be it Claude or Grok or ChatGPT, so we use they all of them have workspaces or projects, and in those projects you can kind of share typical context that you are going to leverage in the entire project history that you will kind of say. So say for example, mission planning is a feature that I am planning to build in my FlytBase dashboard. And for mission planning, I need to provide a lot of context like PRDs, customer pain points, designs, ADRs like my architectural decision records, some sort of a flow charts. So all of these as a context, if I want to provide, I can create these markdown files and then or text files or PDFs, and I can upload these PDFs to any of these projects. And then I just start a new chat, and in that chat, I just talk about whatever specific thing that I need the AI to work on. And if need be, I can like move to a new chat in the same project. So when I move to a new chat, I don't have to again give all of that context because it's already part of the project. So I hope I was able to kind of answer the question to an extent. In the prompt generator, so there is an ability to I think provide similar markdown files as well, but I've not used prompt generator to that level although.
Okay, we definitely I understand what you're saying, and we are doing that when you talk about the project part of it. But I was thinking that I think so. I'm expecting too much without giving context. Maybe going through our GPTs and trying to take trying to, understand GPT and make a prompt.
Right. Maybe that's a feedback that you can give to Anthropic guys, and maybe they will improve their entire UX wherein that's possible. What it actually also does is it allows you to understand like what's happening underneath, and I mean, it can still, without the context, it can generate a decent amount of chunk. And of course, then you can then copy and paste it in your projects and hopefully be able to kind of work on the prompt itself. So that's something which we do a lot, wherein even without the prompt generator, we could just go to Claude. And so say, for example, for today, the presentation that I gave, it was generated by GenSpark, but the prompts that I gave to the GenSpark was generated by Grok, because Grok has all the context about the session, my past sessions, about in general, about AI hacks as an AI in action. And it was able to generate prompts, which I could just copy paste to GenSpark, and then the GenSpark was able to generate the presentation. So use AI to generate prompts for the next chain of AI is something that we do a lot.
Okay. Thank you.
Nikhil, yeah. Yeah, thanks, Manisha. So Nikhil, yeah, so can you please post weekly AI news on YouTube? I'll subscribe. Yes, that's definitely something that it's on our radar. So as soon as Nitin comes back from US, that's definitely something that we'll try out. So I'll scroll down. Any other questions? Deepak, could you please share your previous sessions with us? Yes. So what I'll do is, so we already have a Slack community as well as WhatsApp community wherein we share these tidbits a lot. So I'll talk about it a bit once I try and answer a couple of more questions. Right. So Nikhil has another question. So I wanted to know what all tooling do you have at FlytBase for building AI applications? Are you hosting anything for tracing? What frameworks, libraries are you using? So for building AI applications, so fair. So this is an AI in action session that we'll do, I think, few weeks down the line. That's something that we recently started to use, but primarily we use Langflow as of this moment to build all of our AI agentic, like AI agents. And we use Langflow for pipeline building, and we use Langfuse for the entire observability. So Langfuse provides the like a decent traceability as well as you are able to like visualize what's happening to your entire prompt chain for each and every input. Langflow does a decent job in terms of scaling, in terms of ability to kind of spin up newer and newer prompt chains as even at a decent scale. So as of this moment, these are the couple of different tools beyond code gen tools that we typically use. But yeah. Shubham, if we set up an internal knowledge base for sharing data with all the developers as an KT, so how we manage the prompt? Shubham, would you like to share a bit more?
Yeah, hi. So actually, we have some have internal internal.
I guess Shubham is not here.
Hello.
Fair. I think that's about it. I'll just I'll just end the call. But yeah, thanks guys, everyone, and I'm sorry for the goof up with the audio as well as the initial few videos that I had to show. Something weird happened today, but anyway, that happens to the best of us. But take it. Right. So thank you for your great questions. It was great engagement with all of you guys. It was lovely joining you. like our WhatsApp group, I have already shared the link to our WhatsApp group in the chat window. So that's something which is open and for you guys to kind of just take a look at and see like every day it's a very lively community. So everybody is sharing lots of different ideas, what's happening in the AI world, all the trends and events. We also have a dedicated Slack community. So just fill out a quick form. The Slack link is available via the AI Hackers Collective website. So that Slack community has like our devs, our DevOps guys, marketeers, and all the AI enthusiasts, not just from FlytBase, but from all the communities together. So yeah, huge thanks to everyone for joining today. Like we'll be back next week with another session. So that session is going to be about like how we are building an AI agentic system to automate product QA. So the idea of that entire session is that, as I said, so we have built an AI engine to which if you give just BDT test cases, behavior-driven design test cases, it's able to actually generate the actual test cases for the integration testing. So that's which kind of then we are able to leverage. So now a developer does not need to actually write those test cases. Like they would potentially, it's like an 80-20 sort of a way. 80% is generated by AI and 20% is written by developers on top of whatever is generated by AI. But it's definitely very interesting that we would like to talk about in our next session. So thank you guys. Thank you for joining. And hopefully it was a great session for you guys. And see you guys next week.